What's going on, guys? Alec here from Oz Fury Gaming. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Super Hornet versus Sabre versus Buccaneer. All three ships are designed for different jobs, but we're going to be sort of trying to comparison the firepower, the agility, and the fun use of these ships, because that's what games are about. They're about being fun. So the Super Hornet is a fan favourite, been around for a while. All 6 guns from stock are gimbaled. As we can see here, there's a size 3 gimbal on the wings with an M4A laser cannon, bringing that sort of extra oomph for range, followed by a set of bulldog repeaters on the front on this turret assembly here that sits underneath the nose. Now these guns, obviously only being size 1, don't hit as hard, but I tell you what, just basically throwing enough shit at a wall definitely does something, because when we get the ball turret there, coupled with the Badger repeaters up on top, you definitely get a lot of shit being thrown out there. So after looking at the guns, guys, we have the missiles underneath. So there are 4 size 2 missiles and there are 4 size 1 missiles on this vessel, leaving it quite well suited with missiles there. Another unique feature of this ship is it has 2 seats, unlike the other ships which can only seat 1 person. Now let's have a look at the Sabre. The Sabre has 4 size 3 mounts total. There's a Panther repeaters on the rear on the wings, and then there's size 3 gimbal with a Badger repeaters up on front. 4 size 3 missiles, so definitely hit harder with the missiles equipped, but you know, you can always change it up later on. Now the Sabre relies upon its agility and its shields to keep it alive. The hull on this thing is quite weak compared to the Super Hornet, which is definitely a tank version. Which brings us to the Buccaneer, talk about how that's got some sort of weak shields and hull, but that's $110 versus $185 of the Super Hornet and the Sabre, which brings it to a different tier in my opinion. Now the Buccaneer 2 is designed to be an introduction ship, which brings a different sort of point to the game, those massive engines at top speeds. Also with some decent firepower, starting off with the 9 series longswords, which are not gimbaled on the wingtips, with a set of S3 gimbals with a Badger repeater underneath, followed by a set of tarantulas up on top with the spinal mount. Now also too, this ship comes with a nice set of missiles, 4 Rattlers, which are size 2s, as standard. So you definitely have some good firepower there. Now because those 9 series longswords are not gimbaled, for me it becomes a bit of a pain, which we'll see as we do some gameplay. But we're going to do a review of the Sabre and the Super Hornet in Pirates as well as the Buccaneer. So let's get stuck into it. Alright guys, so just a quick speed test to give you guys an idea of why the ship is really an introduction ship. 710 meters per second is the full afterburn speed there, followed by 220 meters per second in the SCM speed. So this vessel really does fit that role of get in, get out, do some damage, really do some hassling. Now we're going to come up against an Aurora here, so it's a bit of, you know, cruelty to small ships, but you know what, Aurora Allen's going to be making up a fair bit of a fleet, I'd say, or you know, massive ships. When people sort of buy the starter pack and they go, oh, I want something a bit better, you know, being at $35, you've probably seen quite a fair few of them. Now I want to talk about the ship's engine, so let's have a listen for a sec, shall we? So after having that sound test there with the engines, guys, I'm not going to do the same thing for the Super Hornet or for the Sabre, because I think they've been around long enough for people to get an idea of what that ship's like. But as we can see here with this 350R, and we're following up on it, we're going to let off a Rattler to really do some damage. But we'll notice too that the Rattler actually gets, well, a bit confused by the ship. I'm not sure if he actually threw a flare there or not, but the Rattler is good for doing damage against medium ships, so such as a Warden or a Super Hornet as well. Cutlasses and stuff, you probably want to send 2 at them, or you know, like a Freelancer to really knock those shields down quickly. But I tell you what, for an introduction ship, it's very well gunned from stock. Now, I'm going to say this a couple of times through this video, and I'm going to be sounding like a broken record with it, but I'm doing all this review for ships from stock, not with aftermarket guns or anything, because that's not really fair comparison, because you got to spend extra money on top of buying the ship. This is just a straight ship review. So as we can see here, we have a Gladius, which is basically in the same tier as that 350R. More armor, a bit slower, but probably the best all-round dogfighter for this sort of tier for tier. Now, the ship, I'm going to say right now, the Gladius really was going to die from the start. It's just completely outgunned by this Buccaneer. Now, if you had a competent Gladius pilot, I think it would have lasted a lot longer. But because also too, as the Gladius gets away, something happens to the 350R and a lot of other ships. Because the tarantulas and the Badgers have different projectile speeds, it can be a bit of a pain when a ship such as the Gladius here gets a bit of afterburner speed or whatever starts to get away from you. You really do start to struggle getting all of your projectiles to hit accurately. As we can see here again, it's breaking up. And that also comes forward too on the 9 series longswords. They're fixed mounted, so you're going to struggle with them. So talking before too with the Cutlass here, we can see that the Cutlass managed to evade the little missiles, but the main one hit. And we can see too that this ship is, for its size, does hit hard. I wouldn't call it a glass cannon purely because of the fact that it's not just so weak as soon as you break the shields down. Like, it does have a bit of mobo about it. You know, if you get rid of those shields, you will still have maybe, you know, a bit of muscle behind you to keep going, to get behind an asteroid or try and break contact with the target. But it is still weak in comparison for such as a ship as a Super Hornet or even a standard Hornet, really. So I just want to let that be wary for you guys. It's not as weak as a Sabre, but it's, you know, it's sitting around that sort of margin. So here we are, speaking about taking damage. We've got a Rattler coming after us, and we'll see here that the main missile will finally wear off the last bit of the shield there. But I think for a ship that's at $110 price tag, that's actually a fairly good effort in a stock format. So we'll end up killing this Cutlass here. He ends up just obliterating. Anyone who owns a Cutlass or has been killing Cutlasses will know as soon as you lose one of the front wings, it's pretty close to death. So that's always bad signs all around. Well, bad signs for the Cutlass. But yeah, I feel confident when I was flying this ship that it was fun, and it definitely was something that I could just chill out with and have a great time. Which brings me to the Sabre. The Sabre, in my opinion, straight off the bat, is very nimble and very fun as well, but in a different format, okay? For me, I have a love-hate relationship with the Sabre. Those Badger guns on the front, with the Panthers on the wings, being that fixed-mounted, gimbal-mounted setup again, really annoys me. I can live with it on the Buccaneer because, you know, you've got 4 guns that are gimbaled, and they're decent guns that are gimbaled. But because half of your firepower is split up between the two, it really becomes a pain. So here we have A-Burn here, setting off one of those S3 missiles, and we can see here we don't kill him. You will kill an M50 interceptor or a smaller ship, like from straight off the bat, like no damage done to them. A Gladius, if you wear the shields down, you will just definitely kill them straight away too. But this ship is a different type of ship to a Buccaneer or the Super Hornet, right? The Super Hornet's designed for space superiority. The Buccaneer is designed to be an interdiction ship, so get in there, get out, you know, be a bit of a piracy. The Sabre is designed similar to the Buccaneer, but it's meant to be a hard-hitting, get in, get out sort of ship. So as we can see there, those Panther repeaters really do some damage. The Badgers do as well, helping to clean up targets when they start moving out of screen. Now, I apologize for the lag there, but I wanted to show too, when you hit a light vessel, such as the 350R, it does actually throw them off. If Sabre to Sabre will do the same thing. Now, I'm going to show you here too another 350R to prove my point. But I wanted to talk too about the fact that my love-hate relationship with the Sabre. I love it because it is so nimble, but I hate it because it's so nimble. Because I've cut all the weight off it, you're always stressing, always worrying about, you know, where are my shields at? Are they going to rip through my shields? Because, you know, I've had it multiple times where I've been shot through the glass. It actually happened once in one of this gameplay. I'm not going to show it for lack of time, but, you know, you actually get killed through the glass of your cockpit because the shields just drop that quickly sometimes. Now, we're going up against an enemy Sabre here. And now, from my experience too, these enemy Sabres only have Badger repeaters on the front. They don't have the Panthers on the wings from just when I've been playing and I've died, I've been looking at the screen. So it's not really a fair comparison between the two. But I wanted to point out that, you know, the Sabre, like, it is a tricky ship to follow sometimes. And being so agile, I will say I feel like it is a ship that must be respected at all times by the pilot and by the enemy, in the fact that they're so, you know, if you get a good pilot in a Sabre, you will not be able to easily track that pilot if they can get into an asteroid belt or even get into a sort of a dogfight with a bunch of ships and they start circling. You're in a bit of strife. Now I want to talk about the shields or the damage being absorbed by the Sabre. As we can see here, we've had a Rattler missile come onto us from the Cutlass, and it will take out all the shields. Okay, and that's a pain because once you lose the shields, you will pretty much die in 15 seconds. But I want to show one good thing about the Sabre, and that is that you don't always need to kill with guns. Just use a bit of maneuverability. Now this brings me on to the Super Hornet. The Super Hornet's on the opposite end of the scale. The maneuverability of this vessel is really, you know, not there. It's not bad, but the tankiness of it, and also too because all 6 guns are on those gimbals, like I said before, you really do find a really nice, fun zone. Okay, this ship is fun. More fun than the Buccaneer? Well, that's arguable because it is slower. but you just sit there and you just point and click when you got the mouse. Now, I'm not going to get into an argument about joysticks and mouse and everything, but I just want to say that I enjoy it as a nice, relaxing setup. You know, you just chill out and do your stuff. Let's be real here too. The guns are wicked, okay? Even from stock, the guns really work well with the ship. Being the fact that they're all energy projectile guns, I feel like that you can meet that reticle a lot easier, you know, compared to the Buccaneer or the Sabre, where you're sort of broken up. Because all the guns do fit, it's really sweet. I have seen guys who have switched up and, you know, gone, you know, with different guns, gone more of a ballistic route, or traded up that top ball mount for, like, you know, a size 5 gun or something. But I'm not going to really touch on that because, like I said, I'm trying to keep this to stock gameplay. Now, also too, speaking about gameplay, the Super Hornet and the Sabre aren't for sale anymore. The Buccaneer's not for sale either. They was on sale for a fair while there, but at this point in time, it's not for sale anymore. And this brings me back to the pricing of the ship. The Sabre and the Super Hornet are in a different tier above that Buccaneer, right? So this is really, the Buccaneer is the underdog in this review as I speak about it, and I shred this cutlass apart. I like to say too, this is probably the most fun I've had killing cutlasses was in the Super Hornet, which brings me to point out that I think the Super Hornet's the most fun out of all three. Now, back in the hangar, guys, I've got the Hornet here, so we can just compare it to the rest of them, because the Hornet is the Star Citizen poster boy for fighters. Now, as we can see here, size 3 mount underneath, which is the same as the Super Hornet. It has a cargo capacity, 13 units according to the website, which is notoriously wrong, which can be swapped to the Super Hornet, and the Super Hornet's ball mount can be swapped into the standard Hornet. Same with the Ghost and the Tracker. All those variants can be, you know, changed up with the different middle mounts. They're all modular. Now, besides that, guys, we have the same missiles underneath here, 4 size 1s and 4 size 2 missiles. And also, too, we have size 3 gimbal on the wing with size 2 gun, which is different because that's the Badger versus the M4A laser. Now, I want to talk about the Buccaneer versus the Hornet, because the Buccaneer is actually the same value, US dollar, to the Hornet. Now, obviously, the Buccaneer is not always for sale like the Hornet, but it has more guns and, in my opinion, does more damage. Probably not be the best to learn it because it takes a little less amount of damage. You know, shields and stuff aren't quite as good, but it's still easier than the Sabre. Right, the Sabre is probably not the ship that I would recommend to buy or learn in. Right, it's probably the third or the bottom out of all of these. Right, it's a great niche ship and a great stealth ship, guys, but I have a love-hate relationship with it because sometimes I just want to throw it in the bin and sometimes I want to hug it with all of my body. Next brings on the Super Hornet. Right, it's menacing, it fights menacingly, it takes damage like a beast as well. Right, this thing can also carry another person, like I said before, and it has that modularity to carry cargo. So in my opinion, really is a great ship to fly and also a great ship to learn in. Only downfall I have for it is its cost. Like the Sabre, it is more expensive than the Buccaneer. Does that make it a bad ship? No, but it just means that you're going to need to have a bit more cash in your pocket. So being at $185 for both vessels from last time I saw it back in November 2016, at US dollars, I feel like the Buccaneer wins with that lower price tag. You have the guns, or, you know, relative similar firepower to a Super Hornet, similar agility to the Sabre, similar price to the standard Hornet, and you have this menacing looking ship which has the highest afterburn speed out of all the vessels, and also to just slightly faster on that SCM speed. Now, obviously, you don't have that modularity with the Hornet where you can carry cargo, but if you're buying a ship for a fighter, which is what this comparison really is about, you can't look past that Buccaneer. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. Leave a like and a comment if you liked it. Leave a dislike and a comment if you didn't like it, and let me know what you thought I could do better. And also, just subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. I'm going to be trying to put up videos as much as I can, but I work full-time as an electrician, so that really eats up a lot of my time. So I hope to catch you guys in the verse, and I hope you enjoy your day, and toodaloo.